You're listening to No Early GGs.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to episode 58 of the No Early GGs FPL Draft Podcast. Today I am joined by the one and only, my father, Dean.
Hello everyone, hello.
And Dean will be joining us because Cam is on a recruiting trip He's on a recruiting trip overseas.
From Man U? Is he trying out?
He was actually...
He needs some help. Let's go.
He might be. But I know he was, scouting out some of the international games. So once he gets back from that, I'm sure we'll get some good content. But for now, we'll preview games for this weekend. And for this episode, because I am with my father, we're going to be pivoting to my other league, where I am in a strong 10th position right
Fantastic. But actually, you have like the the fifth highest point total, even though you're in 10th.
Right.
Yeah, so you can feel good about that.
It'll even out
Absolutely.
by the end of the year. We're only 4 weeks in.
It's early. But I am in second place right now. First record, but points scored. I'm technically in second place. So I'm just saying, it doesn't mean anything. It's early, but I am in second. I'm just saying.
All right. Well, let's start off by, why don't you just preview your team for us, Dad? Let's see what is keeping you up there.
It is pretty miraculous that I am three wins, no losses, one. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I do have one loss. 3 wins, no draws, 1 loss. It is amazing because 2 of my top defenders I lost quite early. Urian, if that's how you pronounce his name, Timber, right away, knocked out for almost the whole season. And then I lost my number 1 selection at defensive back, Luke Shaw, who seems to get hurt during every part of every season I've had him since I've been playing this game, but this was very early. So that's quite the blow. I hit the double whammy on my defenders, who I was very excited about. But my team, I did pick up. I had some great pickups, I think. Gusto I picked up on Chelsea has been a force so far. Let's hope he keeps that up, although Chelsea's such a mess. Who knows what's going to happen.
All right, we'll cut that part for Cam.
And I also am very heavily reliant right now on Man U. I have Rashford, who is my number 1 choice, and I'm kind of regretting that now. I mean, he's excellent. He's excellent, but Man U... But as you've always said, Noah, let me give you credit on this. You always say Man U starts off slow. They're a bit inconsistent right now, but somehow they seem to get it together before the end of the season. So I'm not getting rid of my Man U star Rashford. I also have Wan Bissaka, who has been quite good this season. And I did pick up when I saw that Man U signed a new left back, an old player of mine from a couple seasons ago. Hasn't looked good lately, but I'm rolling the dice. Sergio Reguilon, Frenchman, so hopefully he'll slot in there at left back. And I also have Guardiola, I don't know if you pronounce his name that way. And I really like him, although with Pep Roulette, it's always a risk. I also have Kovacic, who I just heard has some serious back problems. But otherwise, I have some great players in Buemo, Diaby, Nicholas Jackson up top, and in goal I have Flecken, who I really like on Brentford.
And he picked up Dean Henderson.
I did pick up Dean Henderson. I
don't think we mentioned on the last episode, but
yes. So he's probably going to end up being Palace's number 1, I think. Although it's Johnstone, right? He's doing well, and he finished strongly last season. But I'm hoping Dean Henderson takes over, so I have a choice between 2 number 1s at some point. So that's it. My team's looking good. I've had injuries, but I'm confident.
Not a bad squad. All right, and now I will go into my team. Pretty happy with how my team turned out after the draft. I don't feel like I drafted my best, even though this draft was right after Cam and I's. So, you know, you have a plan going into it, and then after the first pick, everything, just gets insane. So I have John Stones, which is an overlap. Both my leagues, still waiting for him to play, but I'm not going to rush that there. Then I did draft Udogi, so I'm going to give Cam credit. And then I also picked up Pedro Porro, which after last week was pretty decent pickup for me. I think Spurs, all right, maybe not last week, but they actually both got me assists, but no clean sheets. That was fine. I'll take that. I think that was my first win. But right before that, they did both get clean sheets, and Udogi had an assist, so happy there. Also have Martinez, so another overlap, and Botman, who's injured now. Not sure how long that's going to be, but we can maybe find out a little bit towards the end if our fact checker is working. And then up top, I am working with 3 active forwards, which is the first time I can say that in years. I have Wisa, Wilson, and Solanke. So Wilson hasn't started off as great, but obviously holding on to him.
Still a stud. Still
great.
I love him.
I can agree with that now that I have him on my team. And then midfielders, I have Danjuma, Bruno, Bernardo, Jordan Ayew. Credit to Cam there again. And then I picked up Doku, so we'll see how that works out. And then I have Jason Steele as one of my keepers, so waiting to see what happens there. And then Matt Turner. So we'll see, which keeper gets a start. Probably will be depending on matchups. But all right, enough about our teams. I know my dad really likes to talk about his a lot, so I figured I'd give him some airtime. And I do too. But let's get into the previews. We'll first start off with Wolves versus Liverpool. And Dad, I'll let you start, but just to recap, Wolves beat Everton 1-0 last week, and Liverpool beat Newcastle 2-1.
All right. Well, Wolves might have won last week, but they lost the 3 before that, so they're not starting off very strong, although I think they look tighter than they did last year. So if you have Wolves, and I know one of the owners in our leagues is a total homer for the Wolves.
He told me this year he wasn't going to draft any Wolves players. He ends up with like 4 or 5, so that's fun.
However, even though the Wolves have lost 3 of 4, the last time they played Liverpool, they beat them 3-0. Yeah. And key injuries in this matchup, Virgil's still out on that red card, plus his mouthing off to the ref, and they gave him some extra time out to rest. I think Trent has some muscle injury, so I think he might be out as well. And Konate is dinged up. There's a chance he might get in this week, but I'm guessing that Klopp will give him another week to rest. I don't really see, although the Wolves are home and they could be tough defensively, Liverpool seems to be cranking right now. They're doing quite well, so I see Poole beating the Wolves.
Okay,
low scoring though.
Question about this game: do you start Liverpool defenders?
Oh, absolutely.
Even if there's no Trent, no Konate, no Van Dijk.
Even Matip and Gomez who are filling in, not big fans of either one of them, but the Wolves attack. I mean, they got that 7'6" guy. I mean,
who did not play
last week. I was looking at him. I was looking at him to pick up, and he's huge, and had a terrible injury, and he hasn't played for so long. But I think he has potential. But they don't have a great attack, and I don't think they've ever, since I've been back into the Premier League, their attack hasn't been that sharp. So I still see Liverpool.
If anyone was wondering who we're talking about, we're talking about Sasa Kalajdzic.
Oh, you trying? No, that is just ridiculous. Your pronunciations are come on.
I think our listeners will know, who I'm talking about.
Yeah,
but,
the tall guy with the K.
But
right?
They'll know because there's literally no other forwards, so that's why. Yeah. No, I'm kidding. But
Kalajdzic, I think is something like that.
It sounds right. But I'm gonna talk about what I think about Liverpool defense, and I think you stay far away. Every single time Virgil or Trent misses a game, Liverpool can't keep a clean sheet.
Okay.
We'll have to fact check that as well. but I feel like I am, remembering that correctly. All right, so I agree with you. I think Liverpool will probably easily take care of Wolves. However, I'm not going to be picking up any Liverpool defenders because of that reason I just said. All right, so next game up is Villa versus Palace. What do you think about this game?
I've got to go with Villa. I mean, I have Pau Torres, I have Diaby, and I clearly want them to, shut out Palace.
I think you actually also have a Villa jersey, don't you?
I happen to have a Villa jersey. Someone might have given to me a couple seasons ago. I might be wearing that this weekend. You never know. Villa also, I think I was reading something. They haven't lost at home to Palace since December of 2013.
Oh, wow.
10 years. 10 years. But, Palace, they did win last week, and Eduard, unfortunately, had a brace. I was playing the team that had Eduard, and that is why I lost. I mean, I lost for many reasons, but that clearly helped. Let's see. For Palace, Elise is still out, recovering from an injury early in the summer. Tyrone Mings is still out, of course, for long term for Villa. Matty Cash is on fire, scored again. Yep, so he's doing quite well. I mean, I see Villa bouncing back. I think they lost a couple of weeks ago, and I think I see them bouncing back at home against Palace.
I'm with you there. I feel like this is kind of a tough matchup. I would lean more towards Villa in this one because I kind of just, like them a little bit more than Palace. They excite me way more. But as I've been saying past few episodes, Palace look better than I expected. I feel like they're playing a little bit better than everyone expected. So I think there could be surprises there. But I would still, honestly, I would start attackers on either team. I think Villa's been obviously on fire in the attack. So starting everyone I have there. Palace, Ayu's been doing well. Eze scored. Mateta even had a brace of assists last week.
Oh, man.
And he only played 19 minutes. So I'm sure he's available if anyone, which I'm actually guaranteeing. I know a lot of people have forwards that don't play. So Mateta could be a good option. Next game.
Snooze Fest? The next game?
Snooze Fest.
Yep.
I wonder if I'll give everyone a second to see, which matchup they thought that was. But my father over here is saying Fulham versus Luton Town.
Is it Luton or Luton?
I'm pretty sure it's Luton.
It could be. I don't.
Cam made sure to actually tell me that multiple times before the season, but I'm not sure if he said Luton or Luton. Gotcha. I'm pretty sure it's Luton.
Gotcha.
So Luton Town, Fulham, snooze fest of the week. Why don't you explain why you think that?
Well, Fulham is not looking very good since they lost Mitrovic to Saudi Arabia, where all players go to make more money. They've lost 3 in a row. And on the other hand, Luton has 0 points so far this season. So as I said to start with, snooze fest, baby. Snooze fest.
Yeah, I can't really disagree with you. Probably is not going to be, a very interesting game, or there could just be a ton of goals.
Hopefully for Luton. I mean, they haven't really shown that yet, but they were very exciting in the championship, and let's see, this is their chance that maybe they could show against Fulham, who hasn't looked that good.
Yeah, this could be a redemption game for them.
Yeah.
Carlton Morris, probably the only guy, worth even saying as fantasy value.
I agree.
And then on Fulham, I mean,
look, Jimenez is starting every game now. He used to be good on the Wolves before that. He smashed his skull. But if he can bounce back, he's getting every opportunity to score some goals for Fulham. If they can get him the ball, maybe he could regain that form.
Yeah, and key thing to note is he plays. So
exactly.
I'm sure someone needs a forward, even though I dropped Vinicius and Willian literally as quick as I possibly could.
Yeah, I wonder if he's available in any leagues. I think that he's probably...
In smaller leagues, Jimenez is, I would almost guarantee he's available. We're, just a reminder, we're in a 12-man league here as well, where, can't say it enough, the forward market is abysmal.
True. But there's somebody new who joined, and we'll talk about him later.
Oh, yes, there was. I know exactly who you're talking about. All right, moving on from Snooze Fest of the week to maybe the barn burner of the week.
Oh, yes, I agree.
Man U versus Brighton.
Okay.
Start us off. Your boy Rashford. How many goals is he going to get?
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, Brighton is really hot, and they look fantastic. I'm a huge fan. I do have João Pedro, who I like. I probably should have taken that other striker, who I loved last year, and I passed
Who told
on him.
you that?
I know. I had him last year, if you recall. And we're talking about Evan Ferguson, obviously, who actually got injured, but looks like he'll be ready to play this weekend against Man U, and they'll need him. And João Pedro has been playing the 10 more than striker, so hopefully he'll be in there with Ferguson. And what's up with Man U? I mean, Jadon Sancho, he's training independently. He had a big brouhaha with Ten Hag.
A lot of drama.
They're trying to make up, I think. I think he deleted the tweet. Sancho deleted the tweet. So they're trying to make up for that. We'll see what happens. But, as we said at the top of the episode, Man U starts slow every season. And they are unbeaten at home since September of 2022. And they're home this time. Bruno, who I think you have, has been on fire the last couple of weeks for Portugal. He's had 2 goals and 3 assists. Nice. And that's been pretty hot. And Pascal Gross on Brighton has scored 6 goals over his career versus Man U. So maybe he'll be able to rise up in this game, even though it's at Old Trafford. Now, of course, Man U might be missing Sancho. They're missing Anthony, of course, because of his issues, personal issues. Malasia's out, Shaw's out, Varane's out. And for Brighton, of course, and Ciso is knocked out he's been out for.
And don't forget Martinez is probably going to score an own goal, get a yellow card, get a red card. I don't think he's made it into the positive FPL points yet this season.
Not yet, but he might.
You can only go up from there. I'm sorry, I'll correct that. He has 1.
Oh, excellent.
Fantasy point and 291 minutes played.
Oh,
so
phenomenal. Who has him in our league?
Oh, you know what? I actually have him in both leagues.
Oh, you're doubly lucky. You're doubly fortunate.
But that's actually an insane stat that you mentioned about Man U not losing at home since September of last year.
Yes, that's what I read.
Okay, that's crazy. Did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you know what? They're gonna keep at that. I can see them beating Brighton.
Wow!
I don't.
All right.
There's
Noah
something
called
about
it. Everyone. Noah called it. Man U beating Brighton. But
Man U. Yep. And it's not. I'm not only saying that because I have multiple Man U players on both my teams, so there's no bias whatsoever. I actually truly believe they will win. I do think that Garnacho goal should have counted last week.
Yes.
I did not, we won't get into my opinions on VAR, but I think that should have been a goal. Would have changed the game, obviously. We're moving past that.
Are you, though? Are you?
We'll try to move past that. And one thing I will say, because Cam is going to bring it up on our episode next week, I might as well just get it out of the way right now, rip off the Band-Aid, but he crushed me in our inner podcast derby last week.
Oh.
And main reason was he had Evan Ferguson. So he got that hat trick on me. And I feel like there was another player, but I don't even want to go back and look. So, I guess we'll just wait for Cam to bring it up next week. But
maybe you won't. Maybe he'll be kind and he won't rub it in your face.
I'm sure that's exactly what he'll do. All right, let's move on. Let's go to Tottenham versus Sheffield.
All right. Well, the Spurs are hot. They've won. They're looking like a totally different team under. I can't pronounce his name. Postecoglou.
Yep, that's exactly it.
That's where you got it from, I guess. I don't know. No, they've won 3 and drawn 1 in their first 4. They look great. Son, who we both had last year, and he had his off season, but this season he's on fire. Had that hat trick. Was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think it was. Last game week.
Yeah, last game week. And Sheffield, they're struggling on the road, but in the EPL, in the Premier League, they have 3 draws and 21 losses over their career in the EPL. So not a great track record, and Tottenham is home. I don't think Sheffield has a prayer here. Although they did score one against Man City a couple weeks ago. I was watching that game when I was at the beach, and they did draw with Man City. So maybe against Tottenham they can pull out a draw. But I see Tottenham all the way.
Yeah, no, Spurs have been looking great, so I'm clearly going to back them in this game. Any player that you can pick up. Actually, we'll run through them really quickly, but Son, obviously, Madison, obviously, Richarlison, he's the one attacker on Spurs I stay away from. I've never had any interest. I always talk about this. What do you think?
Now, Richarlison, I keep thinking that he's going to step up and really show what he can do, and every week, man, it just disappoints, and you can tell it's frustrating the hell out of him. He comes off and he's just like kicking the bench, and he's just not a happy Brazilian. That's for sure.
No, I would not be happy if I had the same amount of yellow cards as I did goals last season.
Yeah,
so
not good. Kulishevsky's looking good.
Good.
I would go with him, and obviously the defenders who you have, who I really liked, and I wanted to get in the draft, Pedro Porro and Destiny Udogie, who I really like, and their center backs are solid. Van de Ven and Romero. And what's the new keeper, Vicario, is also looking pretty strong. Another great pickup.
So definitely look at Spurs defenders if they're available. Has Eric Dyer been playing? I don't even know.
No, he's gone, I think. Didn't they transfer him into another league? They didn't do it by the EPL deadline, but I thought there was a later deadline in some other league. Did he go somewhere else? I think he's gone. I think Dyer's gone. I could be wrong.
If he's gone, we're cutting that because I have to know that. No, he's still there.
He's still there? You sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
He just hasn't played.
All right, but they were trying to transfer him out to get some money, which they needed, and they weren't able to do that by the deadline.
Which is kind of crazy because last season, I'm pretty sure he played every single game, and I think he was also Spurs' highest point scoring defender.
Yep.
But
just shows season to season things change, man, and coaches change as well. Managers change, and
that's very true. Okay, what about this one player? Is he worth the waiver? Your boy, also my boy, Manor Solomon.
I love Manor Solomon. It's all about playing time, though. I mean, he came in, he started last week for Richarlison, but I don't think that Posto is gonna bench Richarlison yet. I think he's gonna keep trying to drag him out there. If he gives up on him, I think Solomon will get in there.
Okay, so if you had the option, would you rather have Richarlison or Solomon right now?
Honestly, there's downside to both of them. So it's very close, but I would edge towards Solomon just because he's fresh and he's hungry. And you know what? I'd give him a shot. And I just think with Richarlison it's just not working out.
I would definitely go Solomon. But
Okay.
All right. We got to move on. Next game.
By the way, Sheffield, I wouldn't take anyone from Sheffield.
Yeah.
Nobody. Not even McBurney was up top. That
Oh, no. Never McBurney.
No.
Not again. I'm scarred. Okay. All right. Next game actually could be a very good matchup. West Ham against City.
Yeah, West Ham is doing incredibly well compared to how they looked last season, although they did survive last season and were not relegated, although it looked that way for a little while. They were just not looking very good, and David Moyes looked like he was going to be going out the door. But, hey, this season, 3 wins, 1 draw, but they are playing Man City, and Pep has never lost against West Ham.
Wow.
14 times and hasn't lost.
That's insane. Okay. So, which West Ham players would you start?
Well, I don't think I would start any defenders just because, Man City is so dangerous. Antonio has been looking good. I'm not a huge fan of his. I mean, he looks great every time he's out there, just physically, but last season I was not impressed with him at all. But he has been looking very good this season. And you know what? A goal could get in against Man City. I mean, sometimes they get a little soft, even though they might score a ton. I say Antonio and clearly Jared Bowen. I would start him and James Ward-Prowse.
I was about to say, don't forget that last
No,
guy.
you have to. I mean, I think he's on set pieces almost every set piece.
He's on every single set piece. They'll even sub him off the bench if they have a PK.
I would even start Paqueta. I just wouldn't start any defenders just because they're just too powerful with Holland there. And
What about your new signing?
who's my new signing?
Kudus.
It doesn't. I don't know if he's going to start though. I don't. And honestly, I started him last week, and it was a mistake because I didn't think. Not last week, 2 weeks ago, when I picked him up, I threw him right in my starting lineup, and I shouldn't have. He came in for 1 minute. I got the 1 point, and that was it. Wouldn't have helped me win, but it was a managing error.
Yeah, probably not worth the start against City.
No.
So, all right, City. I don't think we're going to talk much about them. I do have 4 City players in my league with Cam. I did pick up Mateus Nunes, which I was going back and forth about. I did want to mention it here. And now that I just found out that Kovacic is having some back problems, I'm very happy I picked him up.
I am not happy.
So if my City players play... If they ever play all at once, it could be great for me. But due to Pep Roulette, I'm probably going to get screwed every week. But we're going to see how that goes. I think, if you have Julian Alvarez, good for you because he's been playing every single game.
Yep.
So that's great. But no one else really to note. We do have to move on. Guardiola.
Grealish is questionable. Okay. Stone's still questionable. And we talked about and KDB's out for forever.
Yeah, and I think I have to drop Rico Lewis.
Yeah, he hasn't been getting played.
Yeah, when he does play, it's great, but I need the points. Not been doing too great for me with Rico Lewis, so we'll have to explore other avenues there.
Yep.
But, yeah, that'll be a good game. Moving on, Newcastle-Brentford.
All right, well, Newcastle has been struggling this season after looking so great last year, but I think they did play, some really huge teams the last 3 weeks. They lost to Man City, Liverpool, Brighton. But remember, those are the toughest teams in the league right now. And so I still believe Newcastle will do well. Isak is hot. He scored 4 goals at home, and they're at home against Brentford. However, of course, Brentford, who I love, I have Mbeumo, who has really been a machine of late. 9 goals in his last 10 games. That includes Premier League as well as for the Cameroon national team. So he has 9 goals in his last 10 matches. Tonali is questionable for Newcastle. Willock is out. But otherwise, I think this could be a really good match, a real tight match. I don't know who I favor in this, even though Newcastle is at home, so maybe give them the edge, but I want Brentford because I like Brentford.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be a good game. And I completely forgot, but yeah, Callum Wilson did score last week. He got their 1 goal against Brighton. But yeah, I think I'm gonna lean towards Newcastle in this. Brentford have been looking good, but I think Newcastle, it just feels like a good week for them after a tough battle.
Stretch. Yeah, definitely had a tough stretch. Yeah. Oh, I finished watching that documentary on Prime on Newcastle, and honestly, I thought it was the worst one out of all the ones that have been on, like the Arsenal one, the Tottenham one, the Leeds one. This was looked like pure propaganda to me. And the other ones, although I know there was propaganda kind of for each team, and that's what these documentaries are, but this one was so blatantly propagandized. It was just, it was distasteful. I like the players. I like the coach.
It was very heavily focused. I only watched a few episodes. Heavily focused on the business side. Didn't really care too much about it. We see enough. We hear enough from Fabrizio, so we don't need that.
Absolutely.
I don't want to watch that in my spare time. But all right, we're moving on.
Go.
Bournemouth versus Chelsea. This could be the snooze fest of the week.
Oh, Cam. Oh, wait till you hear this, Cam. Oh, it's trashing Chelsea.
I'm kidding. This game... I think, Chelsea obviously looked not great.
How'd they do 2 weeks ago? I can't remember.
Not great, actually.
Oh, yeah,
they lost to Forest.
Yes, and I lost it in my game because I have Nicholas Jackson and Gusto.
Yeah,
it wasn't enough.
I was thinking about Chelsea versus Luton Town. Honestly, the past 2 game weeks have been merging together because in my head, it's been too long. But, yeah, now this is a lot better. Last week, Chelsea did not look good whatsoever. I think they actually turned it around this week against Bournemouth. I just think they'll have to score. And usually when they play, less strong team, they look good. But I can't say that against Forest. I think they'll at least score something. And I also think Bournemouth will score.
Yeah, Bournemouth they don't have a win yet this season. They have 2 draws and 2 losses. But this could be their first win, since you're a Chelsea hater.
Yeah, and Solanke. Need Solanke to do
like
something.
Solanke. I definitely like Solanke.
Yeah, but not much else to say there.
Nope.
I think Sterling, great start.
Yeah.
I've been saying that. Nicholas Jackson also looks great, but we won't get into that.
Mm-hmm.
Which Chelsea players are going to start and which probably aren't at this point. All right, 2 games left. Next, Everton, Arsenal. Easy win for Arsenal. In my eyes, Everton, don't look good. I don't think anyone's surprised about that. Danjuma is the only bright spot, and I'm probably biased by saying that, but he did hit the post a few times. I think game week 3, but he ended up scoring last week, so I'm glad I held on to him.
Well, a couple notes about Arsenal. Saka's hurting a little bit. I hear his Achilles is sore. I don't think he's out, but I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't play the full match.
Wow, bad week for Achilles.
Jesus is back as well, and I think he'll get in there. I don't know if he starts, but that could be. I mean, Arsenal's looking strong, and Jesus coming back is going to make him stronger. And like you said, Everton just struggling, except maybe their new signing, who looked pretty good in international play. Was it international or was it in Beto?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about earlier.
Yeah, up top. He looked pretty good. I mean, just having a decent striker now, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to score, because as you all know, soccer is a team sport.
But it means it's going to get you at least 1 point.
1 point. Yeah, there you go. If you're starting, you get 1 point. If he makes it to that 60-minute mark, that's awesome. 2 points maybe. Okay.
But yeah, I think if you're going to start all your Arsenal players, you're going to start Danjuma on Everton.
Sure.
That's it.
Why not? They're home. Maybe they'll squeak in a goal.
Last season the only Everton player you could rely on was Pickford. I don't even know if we can do that at this point. Dad, you dropped Pickford. I
dropped Pickford. Yes, my number 1 keeper in the draft, and I dropped him.
And lucky that did you do that before he scored the own goal?
Yes, I did that the week before, and that's when I picked up Henderson, reading the news that he was going to be the potential starter at Palace, and I said, you know what? Palace has got to be better than Everton, so I went with Henderson instead of Pickford.
Wrong there. All right, last game of the week, Forest versus Burnley. All right, how many times have these teams played? Surprised you don't have that. Do you have that as a note?
I don't have that. I don't have that information. But in this season, Burnley has scored 3 goals, although they've allowed 11 in, and they're in last place in the EPL. I expected them to do the best out of the promoted teams, and right now they're doing the worst. And it's early, and it is early. It is early, and I really like Vincent Kompany as the manager, and I think he could turn it around and keep them up. And I still think that they're going to stay up. They're not going to be going back down to the championship, even with their dismal start. Forest is looking pretty good. They have 6 points already, and they're in 9th place. And they have Gibbs White, who I had last year, and Gibbs White is a stud, man. I'm sorry, the team is not great, but he always looks great every match. And
did you forget they beat Chelsea last week?
Oh, did they?
They did.
Cam, remind me, Cam. Oh, all right. Oh, Cam's not here. Okay.
Okay, so if Matt Turner's available, which he might be in smaller leagues, is he worth a pickup?
Well, Forest plays much better at home, so for the home games, I might start Turner. And against a team like Burnley, like this week, if you have Turner and your alternative is playing Liverpool or Man City or Man U, I'd roll the dice with Turner if they're home, because their home and away records are very different, and Forest is much better at home.
All right, fair enough. Who would you rather have? I actually know who you would rather have, but Dean Henderson or Matt Turner long term?
Well, if Dean Henderson becomes the number 1 at Palace...
What if you had to choose right now, not knowing? who would you take?
Well, because I have Henderson, I'm going to say Henderson. Totally biased.
We're way too biased here. But
no, for that one, I mean, it's like,
that's
I
fair.
believe he's going to take over the number one spot. So that's why I would stay with him.
I think that's fair. All right, well, that is going to do it for today. Anything else you want to add?
Nope. Very excited that Premier League starting up again this weekend. Very excited, and good luck to everybody.